Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestra, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered.
Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold. Looking for something new in sci-fi or fantasy? Check out what Brandon Sanderson, Orson Scott Card, Nnedi Okorafor, and others chose as the best news stories of the year in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Negotiating Happiness. My name is Adriana, and I am your host. And today is Monday, September the 18th, and I can't wait to dive in with our guest today. Just in case you are new here, we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And if you want to watch us on your big TV, check us out. We are also on Roku TV. You just have to go in and search for us. Grab your coffee, grab your lunch, and let's dive in today with my friend and guest, Krystal. Let's get her on here for you.
Hello.
Hello, Krystal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just going to do a little quick introduction here for everybody. So this is Krystal. She is the mother of two very active little boys and cherishes spending her evenings engaged in playful activities around the house or in the backyard with them. When she's not tidying up tiny Legos, we've all been there, tending to runny noses or tackling carpet stains, you can find her formulating strategies and meticulously crafting lists of goals and to-do items. My people. That sounds like my people right here. So Krystal is a web and brand designer at KN Creative Marketing. So the inception of KN Creative Marketing took shape after Krystal's second son came into the world. She initially began creating logos and packages, but then the world events of 2020 disrupted everything. It wasn't until October of 2021 that she finally seized the opportunity to take a bold leap of faith, securing her first client. To say it has been a whirlwind journey would be an understatement. In her inaugural year in the business, Krystal assisted 33 small businesses in achieving their digital marketing objectives. Krystal boasts a robust background in sales and marketing, but she truly found her stride when she embarked on her marketing career approximately 15 years ago, leaving behind her corporate position. She pursued the exhilarating path of running her own prosperous marketing company. Her aspiration is to empower your business with the same freedom and success. And she also happens to be a Wix web designer specialist. So Krystal's primary goal is to facilitate the success and expansion of small businesses, just as she experienced in her own journey. So after that intro, it was a no-brainer why I wanted to have Krystal on the show because this is what we're all about here. I was making a joke with you, Krystal, about the blind leading the blind, but this is basically what the show is. Yeah. And on the way, we just happened to figure it out and talk about what makes us happy.
Yeah. So blind leading the blind, like honestly, if there's a small business owner out there who wasn't at that stage at some point, they're probably not being truthful. Like,
Exactly.
figure it out.
It doesn't exist. It does
Yeah.
not exist.
Right.
That's right. So thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have our chat open. So thank you so much for our listeners. We do have a listenership across the world, which is very cool. We are broadcasting live, like I mentioned, in New Orleans. So hello to all of our American friends and all of our Canadian friends. Krystal is also based out of Ontario, Canada. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We will see them and respond to you or feature your comments live. And if you want to watch us later, if you don't have the time right now, yes, these will also be part of the archive, and you can find us virtually on any platform that will host a podcast as well. Okay, so Krystal, let's dive in. Tell us about you. Tell us about the magic that you do.
Everything. Yeah, so I'm a Wix website expert. I've been working with Wix for about 2.5 years now. My background in marketing is kind of all over the place. So I started my career after college as like office admin. Just like I took a business course, office admin, and I kind of worked my way up. I found that I really enjoyed the sales and the marketing side a few years into my career. And then I, slowly worked up the corporate ladder to like a full marketing position. So I held that for quite a long time. And I feel like because I didn't pigeonhole myself, a lot of my experience is varied in marketing. So I've been in media, I've done ads, I've created websites, I've done all the parts of marketing that there really is. And I also worked for a lot of small businesses where I was their only marketing person. So I was, doing marketing material. I was creating videos, like promotional videos, doing all the things. And I loved it. I loved it so much. But there are always aspects that you don't love so much. and other parts that you do. So as my bio explained, I really wanted to start my own business for a long time-ish. I always felt like I wanted to do more than what I was doing. But there was a lot of fear around stepping out and starting your own thing. So after my second child was born, I don't know, call it postpartum delirium. I was like, that's it. I'm starting a business. I'm never going back. And, it was during COVID. So he was born in the summer of 2020 when, there was lots of fear everywhere. And I was like, I'm never going back into the world. Like, I'm just going to sit in my house and do a job, whatever that job is going to be. So yes, I started working away, building my portfolio, building my own website, figuring out my own branding, what I wanted to do. And it took, 1.5 years for me to get my stuff together and have the confidence to quit my day job and just go for it. So it has
huge.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. I've talked on a lot of podcasts about what that was like taking that step to having an idea, maybe a feeling, putting it pen to paper, taking action, but then actually making that step, writing my resignation letter, handing it in, having my plan. And there are so many different feelings that go with it, and everybody's path is different. For me, I'm kind of like a very decisive person. So I'm like, either I'm in or I'm out. If I'm in, I'm giving it everything. If I'm not even looking at it again. So for me, once that feeling switched over, I was fully in it. I was full speed ahead. And every waking moment was devoted to thinking about building my business. So it's been a whirlwind. Thank you. I have to credit it to like social media, okay? Facebook groups, Facebook groups. If you find an amazing Facebook group, local, national, global, whatever, and they're really supportive, like stick with it. So there's a local Facebook group where I live, and it's all female entrepreneurs. So when I was at that stage where I was trying to decide, should I take this leap of faith? I really wanted to. I was probably going to, but I needed that little bit of courage. I needed some
course,
social proof. So I posted on this Facebook group and I said, hey guys, like, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about starting a business. These are the services that I'm wanting to offer. Do people even need these services? Am I gonna flop? Like,
and I'm sure you were pleasantly surprised at how many people responded, right?
That's right. Yeah, tons of people responded. I actually got 5 clients just from that post alone.
Amazing.
And 2 of them are still my clients today, like 2 years later. So
honestly, this is such a good story about if you don't ask, you don't receive. This is right? Exactly it, right? If you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to know. Also, I've been featuring Jen's post here from Honeyflow Coaching. Hello, Jen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And apparently she also knows the feeling of postpartum delirium. I feel like anybody here who has who's been around the subject of pregnancy knows exactly what postpartum delirium is like. So that your story actually, Krystal, seems very, very similar to mine, right? This is pretty much how I started as well. So it's funny to see what this collective trauma of 2020 did to people and how it launched their careers and this is like the revolution of the employees turned entrepreneurs, right? So I love to hear this kind of thing because I want to go, years in the future, I want to go back and be like, this is actually research, because every single entrepreneur that I've talked to has some sort of story that revolves around that. This is crazy. And it's crazy how much success people have found after such a traumatic kind of way of living. And I'm so happy to see people come out of that on the other side, and they've turned it into a positive thing, which just shows you what the entrepreneurial spirit can really do, right? Yeah. So it's wild to me. So while you're telling us about you, I also wanted to point people to your website as well. So if you guys want to check out Krystal while she is talking to us, I've just posted it here. It's knCreative.com. And you guys can check out what she's all about there as well. So sorry, continue of how you flourished from social media, because you know what? People love to hate on social media, but I'm really glad that you're making this point of like, no, look at how you can use it for your business, right?
Yeah. I think social media, it's like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, right?
Of course,
like everything, it comes with risks like addiction and imposter syndrome and everybody. I think I can speak for myself. I look at other people's businesses and the image that they're putting out there. I aspire to be it, but of course I'm like, oh, I could never do that. Like, they look like they're, they have like thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers. That could never be me. So there's all these bad things about it. But yes,
right. But this is your opportunity to tell people that you don't need that kind of following to be successful, right? Because I say that all the time. I said, what you think they're doing in their business and what they're actually doing is different. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to start this. I wanted to talk to other entrepreneurs to say, listen, your idea of happy and success is not the same as the next person's idea of happy and what success means. And I'm really glad that this is my way of being like, we're not going to gatekeep. We're going to talk about what we do right and what we do wrong. And also, let's not forget that a lot of people that started out on social media that are what viewed as traditionally successful are influencers, which have a lot of followers. Please, please, please remember that their image is carefully crafted. It is not always what the realistic, that's not what you're going to get here. We accidentally drop F-bombs, and we talk about how much we love our kids, but also how much like we just need a break at the same time. This is not what this is about, right? Like, we want to tell people this is what reality is, and you can do it too, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to touch on was very much in this realm of the positive and the negative is like, I find that I see on social media a lot of, you're stuck in a 9-to-5. I'm going to show you how to make $10,000 a month with my 5-minute course.
It's like the new white picket fence is make $10,000 a month, and it's wild to me. Wild.
It really makes me quite upset because I was on the other side thinking, I want more in my life. I want that. Yeah. It seems so easy. Let me buy this. Whether the investment is small or big, doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable with. And then you do this course and you come out of it and you're like, am I dumb? Like, am I not getting this? How is this going to help me? How is this going to get me to $10,000 a month? And the thing is, it's not that easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to run a successful business. It takes grit, commitment, consistency, so many pieces to put together to make it a success.
I think people, to go along with your point there, I completely agree. And I also felt like that when I was seeing those posts. So the course was easy to buy. The course was easy to go through.
Yeah.
Why am I not getting it? Because the actual doing of the thing is not easy. It's not as easy as buying the $25 course or the $250 course or the like $12,000 mastermind. It's not that easy. It's people forget that what you're talking about, the grit, the consistency, it's because you need to build something in order to get those kinds of results. And people go right from I have one client, now I want 1 million. You don't have the infrastructure to support 1 million.
Yeah.
And the in-between is what's going to make it or break it, right? Yeah. So like we've talked about this before in one of our episodes where you have to build, then you have to actually Jill, one of the copywriters and brand strategists that I had on the show, she talked about building, growing, and scaling in that order. Yeah. And a lot of people sometimes try to just like zoom through. And what happens is, let's say you started out from 0 clients to 10, right? That's probably how it happens for a lot of us. You didn't have the building stage. So now you don't have the systems. You don't have the capability to support it, but you also don't have enough to hire somebody to do that for you, right? So this is where kind of my job comes in to be like, let's backtrack. Let's kind of build your systems. Let's build your contracts. Let's build your client experience so that you can focus on getting from that 10 to 100, right? But people just think you can just zoom through because this course told you how to. Right. And it's like, in theory, but the course didn't like actually show you what day 1 versus day 1,000 looks like. Right.
That's right. Yeah. And I think it's for us too, as entrepreneurs, we need to grow into it personally. Like we need to learn what it's like to not have any clients and hustle. And we need to know what that feeling is like. So then when we have these systems in place, we value them. Right. It's like making money when you're a kid. You know, my 5-year-old's like, oh, I want that. It's like, that's $500. Do you understand what the value of that is? Right. No, they don't understand. So when you go through the trenches and you build your business and you feel the anxiety and you feel all of these things, you're learning and you're growing. So then when things are great, you know that you've put that work in and you can really appreciate it for what it is.
For sure. And this is where kind of also Jen's piece on pricing comes into Jen from Honey Flow Coaching, where she where she talks about having appropriate pricing, because your day one pricing is not going to be the same as your like day 2000 pricing, right?
Oh,
Or maybe day 100 pricing, depending on how much value you bring to the table. And sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we're the reason why we're not growing. And I 100% am right there. And it's so validating to hear it from so many different entrepreneurs that they're kind of like, yeah, me too. Like, yeah, I make those mistakes as well. So I'm super glad
I'm
to hear it.
I'm gonna segue right into the branding and website with this.
Yes.
So it's the exact same mindset. So when you're building your brand, you need to understand what your values are, what your purpose is, what you want.
Your messaging.
Your messaging, all of it has to be built. And it's not a set it and forget it type of thing. It's a growing and evolving process as you grow and your business grows. Maybe your services change, maybe your target changes, your branding needs to change along with it, especially from day one to day, 3 or 4 years later. Like, we're always changing.
Right.
So when I first started my business, after that Facebook post went out and I got so many clients, I was like, I do marketing. I'll do anything you want. You want an ad? Done. You want graphics? Done. You want email management? Sure. Why not? Because I was in that spot where I didn't really know. I had an idea. I knew what I could do, but I didn't really know what I loved to do yet. So my initial brand was quite different than what it is now.
Same. I did the exact same thing. I said, oh, do you want me to do admin work? No problem. Oh, you want me to do strategy? No problem. You want me to come to your office and you're in Ontario? No problem. I'll do that too. Like, it was just so all over the place. And I still do a little bit of that, but now I'm slowly also kind of figuring out, what do I want to do for the rest of my life versus what do I want to do for this next invoice, right? And but I don't discredit that though, because that's our hustle. That's our entrepreneurial hustle of making it work, because all of those invoices that I charged for very useful work for other businesses, I might have not loved it, but one, I got to know my clients, and as a result, my 3 retainer clients right now have been with me since day one. So it's been over 2.5 years, right? Almost 3 years now. So I don't discredit that. I just think that there's a time where you have to realize that you have to progress. So how do you do that? I think having a good website as your calling card in quotes, and having a good brand and messaging set in place is 1,000% key. And I've seen some people who run courses that tell you you don't need one. And I, not to ruffle any feathers, I wholeheartedly disagree. Wholeheartedly.
I disagree as well. So coming from a marketing background, my branding, my website was the very first thing that I did, because I needed to understand what my business was about in that moment, to be able to tell people, what am I about? Right?
Yeah. It's really hard for somebody. And I did this at the beginning too, when they ask you what you do and you say, I can do anything, because for them, it's like they go blank. Like, I asked you what you're doing, and you can tell that I didn't even know what I specifically did.
Yeah.
It's better for you to get a client that aligns with what you want to do, and then later say, by the way, I can also do X, Y, Z, rather than you trying to get them at first with, I do everything.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Because there's no trust there. There's no, I'm in the position right now where I'm hiring. I just hired a VA. So I went out shopping for a VA, and I came across so many that were not clear, maybe didn't even have a website, and I asked, can you send me something that shows what your business is? And they just have nothing. And there's no way that I'm going to hire somebody, I'm sorry, that doesn't have branding, a portfolio, even something as small as a Canva page, something.
It's better to have something over nothing, or my mistake before was I worked on my new website for a year and a half, and then I lost it. And that was such a good lesson for me, because it forced me in 3 days to do something.
Right.
And having something that wasn't 100% was 1,000 times better than me not having this new product that I've been working on for so long. Because after that, I signed 2 clients immediately, even though my website wasn't 100%. We're so bogged down on like the details on rather than focusing on the fact that you have something that is client facing, that shows them. So even if you are hiring somebody, would you not want to see how they write, how they communicate, considering you have to get along and you have to communicate with this person in order to keep your clients happy, right? Yeah. Would you not want to see how they present themselves to the world?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So 100% you need a website, period.
Yeah. And also, like, how invested and committed are they to their business? Right. Especially as a website designer, I hear it all the time. Like, I want to say a third of the people that I talk to come to me and say, I had a bad experience with a website designer. They just ghosted. They set me up and then they disappeared.
Which is wild to me.
Like, did you vet this company? Was it somebody on, and not to knock all of those like Fiverr and Upwork, but were they from Fiverr and Upwork? Were they just somebody passing through?
Right.
And did the, there are definitely legitimate businesses on those profiles that have their branding and their business established, but for the most part, it's freelancers that are
exactly
floating through.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was ready to say the exact same thing. People don't realize that when you work with a freelancer, you're not necessarily working with the business.
Right.
Or when you work with the business, they don't have the same flexibility as a freelancer because they have responsibilities. Like, you need to start thinking, we talked about this too. It's like, you need to go from freelancer to CEO. Right. Do I call myself a CEO? No, but we're getting the point across of, I am a business owner. I have certain things that I need to meet. I have certain boundaries that I need to keep in place. And as a client, you need to respect them, or as a potential client, you need to respect them, and I will do the same for your business, right? I feel like freelancers, sometimes they stick too long in that stage and they don't get to be a business because their mindset hasn't shifted yet. Yeah. So they end up almost being treated like employees, but with none of the employee benefits. And I say this all the time. And VAs are actually probably the number one thing that I see on all of these Facebook groups or online, where everybody's like, you need to apply and need to send a resume, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but do you? Like, if you are a business owner, I would not apply as a business owner. Not that I'm above it. It's because it's not appropriate behavior from a business to business contract.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. And you're 100% right. When you're hiring somebody, you want to look at their website. Right.
Yeah. Well, and especially being a website designer, I can tell a lot by somebody's website. So that was one of, you sent me a little list before our call of things to talk about. And when I went through, I don't know if there was a specific topic on this, but actually I think there was.
I think there was one on functionalities of a website that to look out for, or that you like to see.
Yeah. So I can tell right away when I go on somebody's website if they DIY'd it or if they hired somebody who wasn't a website specialist to create it. And there are a lot of tells.
Tell us a few. Tell us a few do's and don'ts. I love it.
A couple tells that, I know the website is either, poorly made or poorly constructed or, DIY, is the branding isn't consistent. So your branding is your messaging, your tone of voice, your colors, your fonts, your elements in your website. All those pieces kind of go together. And one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing sometimes they're beautiful websites, well done. And then the social media icons are like the original pink and orange and yellow or whatever, and then blue Facebook. It's like, you couldn't have just taken that one extra step, right, to make it brand aligned. The other one is the favicon. So the favicon is huge. The favicon is the little tiny image that shows up at the top of your internet search. And
to be honest, I forget to change that.
That is like the first thing that I look at. If you don't have one for your website, or if it is just the default on some builders, like WordPress has a W.
Yeah.
Squarespace has their little black square. I know that it wasn't made by a professional website designer if it doesn't.
What people don't understand is that when your link travels from post to post, or it gets embedded into different pages, or it gets featured somewhere, the favicon and the default header always show. So I am the first one to tell you that my old one is still on there. And it's been on my list to do for forever, but it doesn't match any of my new branding. It doesn't even have the right words on it anymore. It does matter. And I know these things that people don't care about. And like, it will matter when people have to take an extra second to do a double take to be like, well, that's weird.
See, this is the other side of it. So I'm, if your listeners have seen other human beings, they know that you are attracted to something that is put together, symmetrical, beautiful. There's like a scientific attraction level to seeing another person. And whether it's on a conscious level or a subconscious level, when a user is looking at a website where the font is all different sizes, maybe this button is this big, it doesn't quite fit the text, there's no favicon, that sentence just doesn't quite make sense.
The mobile version gets forgotten about. I've been there.
Whether we understand what we're seeing and how it's affecting us or not, on a subconscious level, we're like, these guys look kind of amateur.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or I don't know about maybe you don't know why. You're like, this website wasn't easy enough to use, or it didn't look quite right, or it didn't flow properly. And maybe you can't stipulate exactly what those reasons are, but subconsciously,
Of course. And it actually takes away from the legitimacy of your website or your outwardly appearance of your expertise.
That's right. And it's like the brand trust, right? So you work so hard. And this is why I tell a lot of small business owners, especially those starting out, we work so hard. We do all the things. We're doing the social media. We're doing the bookkeeping. We're building our business. We're thinking of strategies. We're doing all this stuff. And if it's not doing you justice, it's all for naught, right? Like if you're not putting your best foot forward in terms of your branding and your identity and your website, then all that work that you're doing, your users aren't going to be converting, right? Maybe you'll have a few that are like, yeah, this is kind of the level of business that I'm looking for, like really entry level. I'll pay a low price because that's what they can afford and they're willing to sacrifice.
Right. But those are not your ideal clients. Those are not the clients that you want to elevate to, right? And everything has its own process, everything in due course. And maybe you are doing all of those things and breaking your back and you're not seeing results. And it could be very little things like that. Maybe your messaging is off, or maybe you're not consistent. So why not have that opportunity? So to be honest, I DIY'd my website because I have experience in doing that. I have experience in design, but this time around, because I know better now, I had help from copywriters, right? Because I know that I cannot possibly do it all by myself, right? And then the next time I elevate my website, I'm going to call you, Krystal. I'm going to be like, just do it, right? Like everything in its own time. And I agree that you can't do it all at once, but you have to realize you get what you pay for. Or if you can't necessarily like maybe the websites that I've been doing in different website builders have been just informational, but mine sometimes they require forms, and sometimes they require integrations, and sometimes they require, like, drives me nuts. My embedded Instagram feed breaks every so often, like just stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
like
that does happen.
It just happens, and I know that, but you have to invest in your brand in order for the brand to get back. Because remember, we are in the age of personal brands, and people buy from you. They don't buy,
especially if you're a service-based business.
Yeah.
And
If they like you, they will buy from you, because that is how our subconscious works, and that is what we're allowing for our attention to go to. We have all of these virtual meetings, and we despite the fact that maybe we're not, meeting face to face anymore, I would argue that we are way more global now. So we actually get to meet way more people than we did before. I don't care what anybody says about social interaction. I disagree. I get to talk to people from across the globe that I would have never met otherwise, right? Yeah. So our attention is so divided in all these different places that even a second more that it takes me to look at something, I'm already turned off, because I'm like, I'm so stressed out already.
Yeah. So it's 3 seconds. 3 seconds is how long you have when somebody enters your homepage of your website to do a lot of things. We call it above the fold. So the first on a desktop, the first kind of rectangle that you see, you need to have your branding needs to be present. Yep. You need to speak to your audience. So they need to know that this website is for them. Yep. And they need to know what exactly your website is about. And then the last thing is the call to action, right? So all right there, 3 seconds, boom. Honestly, if you don't have those things, then the bounce rate is a lot higher. And their bounce rate is when people enter your site, stay for a couple of seconds, and then just X out.
And the way you can check that out is, I've talked before, if you want to add a Google tag for Google Analytics into your website, you can get that information, and you can actually see how they enter your website. Is it through a landing page, or is it through your homepage? Where is it coming from? How long did they stick on, your average session is, and where they're from. So even like, I don't have great traffic, but I know where they come from, and I know, and it's where I want them to come from. I can actually block where other people come from if I don't want to work. Like, for example, I had some really weird spike in traffic from Turkey, and cool, that nothing against it, but I don't speak Turkish. So it's going to be very hard for me to work with somebody from Turkey, for example. I'm just giving an example, right? I love their food, though. Turkish food is great. But for what I need to do, I need to be able to communicate very clearly with my clients, and it's not somewhere that I would be able to do business with. So you get to know these little things and how your website acts. And it also tells you, like, if a page isn't performing the way you want it to, maybe you need to look over it, and you'll get that information when you go into your Google Analytics. And it is a free service, people. So you might as well use it, right?
Yeah. So Google Analytics and Google and SEO is one thing that I think we wanted to talk on. Definitely having Google Analytics on your website. The other part of it, I guess it kind of happens when you put Google Analytics on your site, but making sure that your website has been submitted to Google for indexing, and you're connecting the two. Just because you make a website doesn't mean that it's going to show up on Google.
Can you tell our listeners what indexing means?
Yeah, sure. So I like to think about it. I'm a very visual learner, and I think visually, and I think about like those old Rolodex, right? The Rolodex with all the papers in it. So Google is the owner of the Rolodex, and your website is an entry in it. So when Google receives your website, which they don't, Google doesn't have eyes. They can't see what color it is. They can't see the layout of the pages. It's all in like zeros and ones and data. So when it receives the data from your website, it reads through each page of your site. It gives you a ranking, how good or not good your website is. And then it'll categorize you for your keywords in certain areas, and it'll rank you. And that's what Google ranking and indexing is. It's taking your website and it's filing it in its little Rolodex. That's the easiest way.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. So imagine people that have no keywords or didn't think about any of the strategy where you're ranking on that, right?
Yeah. So if Google looks at your website and it doesn't quite understand it, it sees an error here, it sees you're missing something there, it's just going to put you to the bottom. It's not going to have you in its like main core selection of websites that it's going to suggest to people or to
That's
users.
Right. Yep.
So if your website is fully functioning, it has a favicon that goes to your SEO. All these little bits and pieces are calculated and you're given a ranking by Google.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all part of it. So I think I have a list here. I'm going to look. So the things that are involved in SEO. So keyword optimization, we just talked about, making sure that, if you are a donut maker, that you have the word donut on your website and where you supply your donuts to. Do you deliver? Are they vegan? Are they made with something special that you want to attract people that are looking for that type of product?
And also, like, if you are a donut maker, but maybe some of your clients don't know what they want, do you then add baked goods? Or do you think outside the box? Like, think about who you're speaking to, even when you put your keywords in, right? Like, I'll give you an example that people don't think about is when I was running as a virtual assistant, a lot of the keyword searches were how to be a virtual assistant. That was not helpful to me because that was not my audience. So what I could tell Google Analytics to do is to exclude me from the searches of how to be a virtual assistant. I wanted the searches that had find virtual assistant, or even sometimes what is virtual assistant. Sometimes that would work too. So you can have negative keywords that you can control who sees your searches. And that is huge for anybody starting out.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with VA or, let's say you only make vegan, right? You don't want to show up for other searches like gluten-free or whatever, right? You know what I mean? So just to your point, the other tailor it. Yeah. The other parts of SEO that I find a lot of DIYers who don't understand is the meta tags and descriptions, your header tags, and your alt text. So this is all text. It's all very technical, not fun stuff to do.
It's fun for me because I like to learn more about it.
It's fun for me too. But for, a donut maker, it's a whole nother world of websites. It's not just taking a page and putting a picture and putting some words and hitting save, right? It's like the whole back end technical side of it that is crucial for SEO. So if you don't have text behind your image on the back end of your website explaining what that image is, Google will rank you lower. If your headers are not properly categorized, Google will rank you lower. If you don't have meta descriptions with your business name or a keyword, Google will rank you lower. There's a laundry list of items that Google looks at when it's indexing your website.
Yeah.
Does your website have a check mark here or an X? And that will directly impact how often Google will suggest your website to users.
And you should update it. So as your messaging changes and as your focus changes, you should be updating them as well, or else it's pretty useless to you, even if you have it in there. And this is the way that it would work for blogs as well, just in case people are wondering. And this is why a lot of businesses put out blogs, because it's yet another opportunity for you to highlight what you're looking for, provide some useful information and become an expert in your area. But this is also for Google to say this is content that matches X, Y, and Z searches, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, blogs are an amazing way to keep your website fresh. So Google favors websites that are always changing and new information is being added. So if you have a portfolio website like mine, or like a lot of service-based businesses where it's not really changing, having a blog is a great way to keep it fresh and keep Google continually looking at your website and continually ranking you.
That's a great tip there. Yeah, it's a great tip.
And blogs don't have to be complicated. Blogs are like this, oh, I gotta start a blog and I'm gonna be writing for days and days. They don't have to be complicated. And talking about blogs, let's talk about keyword optimization.
Yes. So before we do that, sorry, I just realized what the time was because we're having so much fun. I didn't even do my halfway through station IT. So for those that are just tuning in, you're listening to Negotiating Happiness. I'm your host, Adriana, and I'm here with my guest, Krystal from KN Creative Marketing. We are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7. FM in New Orleans, and we are also on Roku TV. We are talking about our entrepreneurial journey and the do's and don'ts on websites with Krystal, who is a Wix specialist. She is a web and brand designer, and we were just about to tune in to keyword optimization, right?
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of my clients don't really understand what keyword optimization means or how it applies to their business. So I am not a content writer. I always suggest that my clients work with a copywriter, or they can write their own copy, because I don't do that.
I don't suggest that, but yeah.
So when you are looking at what are the keywords for my business, there are many tools that Google has available, but one way to find what your keywords or key phrases might be is to act like your client or your target audience and search Google for what you think people will be searching for. So for example, in my business, I'm a website designer. So one of my clients might search small business websites or the best small business website builder, something like that. When you search that in Google, you can scroll almost all the way down to the bottom, and it'll give you kind of a suggestion on what other people have searched similar to what you have searched. And that is a great way to find topics and titles for your next blog.
That's right.
So what are people actually searching that has to do with your business? And you can take that exact title, slap it on a blog, and then write content that obviously fits with whatever the topic is.
And we just covered on our last episode, I covered why competitor analysis is important. And you can get a lot of your information onto, hey, what is the industry standard, right? It could be a competitor that's local to you, competitor that's not. Then you kind of figure things out that way if you're not too sure. Or maybe you just want to be very different than what your competitors are doing. And this is one way to do it. It's like, okay, what makes me different from them? I'm going to look for X, Y, and Z. Or Krystal could have for anybody that's listening, I've put up Krystal's website here. For example, if you're looking at your header, I can tell exactly what you do, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell exactly what you also do social media and email marketing. Okay, great. If I wanted to do that and say, I'm only graphic designer to physiotherapists, right? Yeah. Copywriters do that. They niche down because of a lot of technical terms, right? Yeah. So if you wanted to say everybody in Southern Ontario is doing just regular old, service-based, or maybe it's product-based, right? I'm going to be very, very specific and niche down. So then obviously your keywords are going to be very different than your competitors.
Yes.
Right. So it takes what Krystal's saying is that you have to do some homework, and that's never going to stop.
You have to do
all the time.
Yeah. And doing your homework before you build your brand, or in the process of building your brand and building your website, is really important. the pet peeve, okay, pet peeve from a website designer is
Yeah.
Somebody hires me to create their website, and halfway through the project they're like, actually, I think I'm going to change my services, or I'm going to change my target. And it affects everything, right?
Of
It is
course
a
it does.
brand new project. So being really clear on who your target is, what problem you're going to solve for them, what your goals are when users come to your website, whether you want them to book online or purchase a course or purchase a product or just book a call with you. Those things are very important at the beginning of a project, and having full understanding before you hire is really important. Now, I can help my clients with that. I do have a kind of coaching option for my brand development, where we can sit down and we can have calls and coaching calls, and we can figure it out together, what makes the most sense and how to represent that in your branding and on your website. But yeah, doing that step is crucial for the success of your website.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And I've also said before too, there are many people out there who also offer freebies in terms of like worksheets or, just to give you an idea, like what are the kinds of questions that you should be asking yourself. Even though I knew what I wanted to do and I knew how I wanted to help people, it was so helpful for me to stare at. I think it was one of Jill Wise's classes where I'm staring at it and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know how to verbalize that. I know in my gut feeling what it is, but I don't know how to verbalize that. And it literally forces you to become to become on the receiving end of your answer, right? To be like, oh, but now because I went through all of this, I can now look at my client when they ask me, or a potential, like a lead, and say, I do X, Y, and Z because I've already gone through that exercise. So it never really stops. You have to continuously do homework, and that's okay, because you always, you totally just, you keep evolving, right? And when you evolve, you have to do the homework. There's no other way around it.
That's right. Yeah. I like to look at my brand. I usually do it once a year. And I just do like a check over, right? I look back at my brand development that I did initially and say, is this still my mission? Is this still my vision? Is my target audience the same? Which ever since I've been doing it, there's always a slight change because I'm growing and evolving in my business, and my target is changing. And then, okay, so there's a little change. And what does that mean? Does my logo still apply to this new target? Is my messaging still on point for this new target? Do my packages still make sense for this new target? So once a year, I think, is a good pin to put in, to just take a look at everything. And then if there are changes to make them. Yeah, no, that's right.
I feel like I don't do it every year, but sometimes I get into these moods where I do CEO Mondays, where Mondays are kind of kept for basically the show and for doing development. And it's really helpful because sometimes I get into this mood where I just go and just scrap everything on a page and be like, okay, it's new, right? So I'm not as disciplined about when I do it, but I do agree you should be doing it so that you can
I would say at least once a year. Like if you know that you're making a change in your business and it's halfway through the year, or you just did it 2 months ago, then that applies. But if you haven't looked at your branding at all and it's been like a year and a half, you're like, you should probably revisit it. And
that's right.
Everything. Yeah,
that's right. And so, I mean, I've seen a lot of people like, you don't need to do, let's say, brand photos every time. I've seen a lot of people reuse their brand photos gracefully, I've seen a lot of people get really creative with what they can do on Canva. It's about working within your resources. And it's funny because when I start working with somebody and I kind of take a peek in their operations, we always find things that they're overspending on where that could actually be used in a different area of their business. So it's always a good thing to check in with a professional, because you might actually be losing out, because for the same expense, you might be getting more for your brand, for your business than you thought of, right? Because a lot of people don't know what all of these platforms do. So they end up signing up for them, and I say they have the same exact capabilities as the other platform you signed up for, right? Yeah. Or they have overlapping capabilities. So we can do something about that. And if you're not ready to have a professional deal with it, then that's fine. You're not ready, but you should be doing this homework that Krystal's talking about, regardless if you're ready or not. Because when you are ready, you can say, here's my content. I've worked on this for 2 years now. I want you to like make it shine, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So we're almost done here. I've just kind of been scrolling through your website. So if anybody is looking to spruce up their website or have like a coaching call with Krystal regarding their brand, it would be mktg.com. Or here, I'm going to put it on one of our banners here. Why don't you keep up with her on Instagram? It might be a little bit easier. And then you can follow her links from her profile on there as well.
Yeah. I do. We've talked a lot about SEO this interview. So I figured it's a good thing to add that I do have an SEO checklist, like a freebie on my website. So if you're not sure if your website is SEO friendly or optimized, you can, it's a quite intensive checklist. It's not top level. It does have some nitty gritty to it. So it's good for those who maybe think that their website is SEO friendly, but maybe not quite sure.
It's good homework. I'm going to go get it as well, just to make sure. Yeah, no, I totally appreciate it. We always get such good chats whenever we meet up. Is there anything that you're working on specifically that you want to share with anyone?
No, I just opened up my books for Q4, so October to December. So I'm booking new projects, new branding and website projects for, the next few months until the end of the year. I do have limited availability because I am a one-woman show. I only take on a few clients every month. So if you're thinking about it, I offer free consultations. We can get on a call and kind of discuss your project, and I can give you some ideas and we can go from there.
Amazing. And don't worry, Krystal will not ghost you. That sounds like a terrible business model for anybody that says, oh, my professional ghosted me. That's terrible. Right? Yeah. I might get back to you late, depending on what's going on in life, but I will be there. Yeah, that's super cool. So we have like 2 minutes left. I want you to tell me what makes you happy, Krystal. Not mom Krystal, not wife Krystal, you.
Not mom Krystal, not wife Krystal, me. To be honest, right now, my business is like my joy. So when I'm not wifing and momming, I'm either, binge watching Outlander or
best
thinking about my business. Yeah. I'm a foodie too. I love going to different restaurants and trying different foods. I haven't been able to do that nearly as much as I want to lately because of the children, but one day
children. We need to have a business meeting.
Yes. At a really nice restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's always great.
I'm sure we'll see you again because there's so much more to discuss on this. But I basically just wanted an expert to back me up to say that yes, you need a website. Whoever's telling you don't is lying to you.
I definitely agree with that. And those that say you don't have to have a website to start your business, I agree a little bit. Like if you don't have the time and the energy and it's going to cause you stress, then don't do it. Just like everything. Right. But if you want to really build your business and take it seriously, I think that it's essential.
You're not going to be able to grow. So even though you might have 1 or 2 clients now, which is super exciting when you're first new, great, but you're not going to be able to grow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's better to have something than nothing. I always say this, even if it's bad, then it just gives you perspective on why you need to hire Krystal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Well, thank you so much. And I want to thank all of our listeners as well, everybody who commented. Jen was with us today, which was really nice. And just to, oh, there we go. Some technical difficulties. When do we not have technical difficulties? Always. So thank you all for tuning into the show. Big thank you to the station as well, the United Public Radio Network and UFOpreneur Radio Network. And join us next week. We're going to have some exciting things for you then as well. If you have any questions for Krystal and you didn't get a chance to actually send them in, just leave them in the comments. We'll get them after the show. And if you are looking to learn a little bit more about this crazy entrepreneurial journey, check out our archives on YouTube, on Facebook, on SoundCloud, and you can even listen to them while you're driving somewhere. And hopefully you find something in there that you like. Thank you again so much, Krystal.
You're welcome.
And we will see everybody next week.